Yo guys, the one and only here, and I don't think this one needs any sort of preface or introductions. I think the safest bet for this mythical item is to dive straight into the unboxing. Guys, I had been anticipating this very product since they first teased it. Got even more hyped when Apple sorta kinda vaguely gave an official release date of fall 2019, and boy, the day is finally here. Believe me, I nerded out so hard. It's like a nerd's perfect idea of an early Christmas. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the revived, brand new 2019 Mac Pro. As you can see, it came in this huge box here that even has stickers on the actual box saying it's heavy, as if that wasn't obvious already. The total item package was about 80 pounds, whereas the Mac Pro itself comes in at close to 40 pounds. Big boy, I know, so just be super extra careful when trying to lift this package. Lift with your legs. Always remember what your mom told you when you were younger, because you're going to need it here when trying to unbox this. You'll notice that Apple even goes hard on their outside shipping boxes, as there is this tab that assists in ripping the entire box on the perimeter here. You'll have to pull hard, so make sure you ate enough carbs before doing this because it takes a bit of effort. It isn't as seamless as pulling those simple tabs on items like your MacBook Pro or iPhone case. Once completing that, your box is divided into two sections. Like an overly large top hat, just remove the now detached top portion of the box to reveal your clean and simple Mac Pro official box. Now at this point, it was a bit awkward to try and remove the bottom section of the shipping box. You'll just have to be creative, but definitely get help so that you don't do it alone. Once that is done, you'll find gray Velcro on the sides. So remove that to unseal the box, and remove the top portion to discover your computer that is well worth your typical economy car, or a couple of them. At least the unboxing experience is super top notch and suspenseful. And there it is, the Mac Pro just chilling there, mocking you, hiding underneath that protective cloth. But as always, we will let that sit and wait. We'll find all of our accessories needed to use the computer. Noticeably absent though, for those not really invested into Apple's Mac ecosystem, is a display. Yup, you heard it right, folks. The base Mac Pro starts out at $6,000 and does not include a monitor. As a matter of fact, no configuration of the Mac Pro comes with a display. You do have to supply it separately. You can attach a variety of different displays using Thunderbolt 3, but without a doubt, Apple wants you to purchase the additional XDR 6K display, which also starts out at $5,000. I did order it and it is on the way, I just haven't received it yet. So whenever it does get here, stay tuned for that unboxing and review. Anyway, going back to the unboxing, you can configure your accessories at purchase. I opted to get the Magic Mouse, Magic Keyboard with numeric pad, and the Magic Trackpad since these colors for now are exclusive only to the Mac Pro. The silver on black is super sexy and I can't wait to review these accessories one by one. These accessories are super nice, but even nicer is this black braided lightning to USB-C cable that of course is complimentary only when purchasing the Mac Pro. You would expect for $6,000 to at least be given premium accessories, so at least Apple knows how to keep us loyal Apple fanboys slobbering over small details like this. The power cable also found inside is braided as well and feels very well constructed and of high quality. The power is internal, so thankfully we have no power brick to speak of, which is typical of Apple as presentation and overall design is everything to them. And finally, the star of the show. Stretch beforehand, do a couple of push-ups, and then grab the Mac Pro by the stainless steel handles and lift or either let the bottom box drop, and there she is. That's not everything though. Dig inside where the Mac Pro is chilling and you'll find your braided black power cable that I mentioned along with your product and warranty information guide and this really neat booklet outlining the design and manufacturing process of the Mac Pro, which is really cool. So before anything, the main goal of this video is really to unbox the machine and give you guys my initial first impressions on the design and chassis of the machine. In a future video that is already in the works and will be released real soon, I plan to do an official full and comprehensive review of what the Mac Pro has to offer, as well as perform some Geekbench and other tests to showcase the insane power behind this Mac Pro. Make sure to subscribe with bell notifications so that you don't miss it. I'm not sure if you guys saw via several tweets and other publications, but this machine does start out at $6,000 but can be configured all the way up to a whopping $52,000, enough to cover about the third of a cost of a moderately sized home down here in the South. But $50,000 plus, and again, that does not include your display. You can supply your own, but I'm sure most people that pick up the Mac Pro will also pick up the XDR display to go along with it. For $52,000 and even $6,000, it's clear to see this computer is not for the average individual. No sir, this computer is for those professionals with the most demanding workflows, those with super tight deadlines, those who create content, and for those who want to build upon their computer over time. That's because this is the modularity we have been asking for ever since the atrocious design failure that was the previous trash can Mac Pro. I mean that literally as well. It was complete trash and also looked like a trash can. Kinda ironic if you ask me. Being modular means you're able to expand on it and basically customize it to your liking so long as the Mac Pro supports your parts. For example, you can upgrade the RAM yourself. You can also purchase an additional MPX module and better your graphics performance. Or you could take advantage of all the PCIe slots ranging from half length to full length to double wide length slots for extreme customization, including being able to expand your storage using super fast NVMe SSDs to expand on the pitiful entry level storage size of 256 gigabytes. I'm shaking my head, Apple. Starting capacity of 250 gigs on a $6,000 machine is just purely unacceptable, especially when you gave this machine the Pro moniker. The expansion and modularity is what sets this apart to their all-in-one desktops like the iMac Pro. With the iMac Pro, what you buy is what you get and is extremely hard to do any kind of user upgrade since things like the SSDs are soldered on. Bummer, I know, but hey, this Mac Pro makes up for all the failures and blunders of the overheating and other issues the trash can Mac Pro had, so long as you're willing to fork up that cash. The entry-level Mac Pro is decked out with an impressive 8-core Intel Xeon W processor, 32 gigs of user-upgradable DDR4 ECC RAM, a somewhat modest Radeon Pro 580X, which some did complain about, but remember, not everyone is a video editor. For example, audio engineers and those producing music don't necessarily need the higher-end Vega cards, much less two of them with the optional duo configurations, so there's that. Base storage is only 256 gigs, which again is a major blow, but luckily SSD prices have fallen considerably and you can opt to upgrade for 1 terabyte of internal storage for an additional $400, but you can also take a much cheaper route and expand it yourself. Then you get other options like the additional Afterburner card, which allows professionals working with 8K raw footage to take a lot of the strain away from the processors and onto the Afterburner card, greatly improving not only efficiency but performance as well, since a lot of the workload has now been removed on the processor end. You do also have the option to add wheels to this computer. Yeah, this isn't a joke. These wheels cost more than getting actual tires on some vehicles. The optional wheels are $400, $100 a pop. Apple, are you out your damn mind charging $400 for some wheels? Even at $80 for all 4 wheels sounds like a lot to me to be able to lug around $6,000. Apple, I'm sure you're just trying to see what you can get away with in charging your most loyal customers. But all jokes aside, if you're at a huge studio and routinely change locations to edit, you might want to consider these wheels. 40 pounds to regularly lug around could become a bit cumbersome to those that need that occasional portability of their production machine. Just do keep in mind, with the wheels at least for now, you do have to decide if you want them or not, as they are not sold separately and are actually constructed alongside the enclosure of the machine at purchase. So it's either wheels or feet. And lastly, you have your options for accessories like whether you want a magic mouse, a magic trackpad, or both. It's crazy because the entry-level Mac Pro is already pretty powerful. This here is actually a 16-core machine, but it can be configured up to a 12, 16, 24, or 28-core processor, a ridiculous 1.5 terabytes of RAM. But to do so, you'd have to get the 24 or 28 core processors to achieve the 1.5 terabyte configuration using LRDIMMs versus just RDIMMs for lower capacity memory sticks, as you can't mix the two. You can do up to 2 Radeon Pro Vega Duos, which just by that option adds an extra 10 grand to the purchase price for those 2 graphics cards alone, and up to 8 terabytes of internal storage. Monster specs, I'm telling you. But a computer is worthless if the chassis isn't able to properly cool the internals. When designing monster machines like this, the external must be designed with the internals in mind. The Mac Pro starts with this stainless steel construction that includes the handles which act like the vertebrae of the machine. The beautiful stainless steel exterior enclosure isn't just for show. The show actually can lift off. Simply twist this top cap and lift it off. Just make sure your computer is completely shut off before doing so and the power cable is disconnected. Here is where all the magic is, a 360-degree view of all your internals. Configure to your heart's content. You can notice once off, all the fans needed to cool the device, but man, this device is super silent. You start it up and can barely even hear it. Even while exporting a small 4K clip, the machine is dead silent and is to be expected with such a huge chassis that optimizes airflow. This is dubbed the second generation cheese grater Mac Pro, and I must admit, it's a fitting name for it. Apple claims that based off this cheese grater look, the exterior enclosure is more air than metal. The spherical array is machined right into the interior and exterior surfaces of the metal. The result is this super light lattice pattern that is phenomenal in optimizing airflow and to keep your computer running nice and cool. On the top, you have your handle to remove the enclosure flanked by the power button, and a light indicating whether the computer is on or off, and two Thunderbolt 3 enabled USB-C ports. On the back, you have your professional array of Pro I/O ports, including two USB-A ports, which is kind of weird. You get just two Thunderbolt 3 ports to the side of that. To the left of that is a 3.5mm headphone jack, and depending on what graphics cards you get can determine if you get an expansion to your I/O. I got a single Vega 2 graphics card, which gives me an additional 4 USB-C ports and an HDMI port. If you opt for 2 MPX graphics cards, then you get even bigger expansion. And at the very bottom is your plug-in for power and 2 10GB Ethernet ports. Of course, as I mentioned before, we have our stainless steel feet at the bottom, and all the way at the top are stainless steel handles, and on the sides are the biggest Apple logos I've ever seen on any Apple device. They're just massive. Speaking of massive, the machine is way bigger when you have it in front of you than what Apple would lead you to expect from their pictures. The computer is massive, but it makes sense when having a machine capable of the most demanding workflows. So as you can see, the Mac Pro is a beast, and some would argue the stiff price tag is actually competitively priced. I for one am extremely excited to see the capabilities of this machine and to what lengths it can go. Being a content creator, I am on my Mac just about every day, video editing on the daily, creating thumbnails, experimenting with 3D rendering, and editing my photography a lot. I don't need the power of the top of the line Mac Pro, but having this computer now as my main production machine will drastically change the way I work now with having all that power at my disposal. I'm just excited for my XDR display, which needs to ship out already. Anyway guys, this has been an initial first impressions of the Mac Pro. As I said, Geekbench and other performance tests will come in a later video. This was just to showcase the chassis and give my own initial first impressions on the machine. I'm super excited about what this computer can do and will definitely add on and configure it over time. Make sure to stick around for the full in-depth review, but until then guys, thanks for watching and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.